Smeeth.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I am devastated that we are here today discussing this issue in this place. We shouldn't have ever had to have got to this point, to be discussing one of the oldest hatreds and how it is back in our political discourse as a norm. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm proud to be supported by so many of my friends and colleagues from across the House. Specifically, I stand in awe at the bravery and strength of the women who represent Liverpool Wavertree and Liverpool Riverside. It is their dedication and commitment that inspire and ensure that we stand united against the politics of hate and scapegoating. Madam Deputy Speaker, I find myself in the bizarre position today of feeling obliged to state for the record that my register of interests are in fact accurate and that I have not failed to report any additional employment. Specifically, Madam Deputy Speaker, I feel I must inform you that I am not a CIA spy, I am not a Mossad agent, and nor am I an MI5 operative. And to assure people who are occasionally foolish enough to Google me, although I would urge you not to, it can be unpleasant reading, I do not work for the people of Tel Aviv, but for the people of Tunstall. These are just some of the regular anti-Semitic tropes that have become normal in my world. And to be clear, just in case I needed to say it, I am not, nor have I ever been, a lizard, transdimensional or otherwise. What I am, Madam Deputy Speaker, is a proud trade unionist, a Labour Party activist for over 30 years, and a lifelong anti-racist. I also happen to be a British Jew. And in 3 decades of political activism, there has never come a time when those 4 parts of my identity provided any form of conflict, until now. Madam Deputy Speaker, I used to run Hope Not Hate with the wonderful Nick Lowles. I was the Jewish community's anti-BNP campaign coordinator. I first stood at a demo against the National Front when I was 12. I have spent my life campaigning against the politics of hate and extremism. I have witnessed anti-Semitism and racism from the far right. After all, that is what they do. And honestly, Madam Deputy Speaker, I have become desensitised to it. But I will.
I'd just like the Honourable Lady to speak for a minute longer. Thank you.
Thank you. But over the last 2 years, I've experienced something genuinely painful. Attacks on my identity from within my own Labour family. I've been the target of a campaign of abuse, attempted bullying and intimidation from people who would dare to tell me that people like me have no place in the party I have been a member of for over 20 years, and one that I'm proud to represent on these benches. My mum was a senior trade union official. My granddad was a blacklisted steelworker who became a miner. I was born into our movement as surely as I was born into my faith. It is a movement I have worked for, campaigned for, and fought for my entire adult life. So it was truly heartbreaking to find myself in Parliament Square just over 3 years ago, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish community against the poison of anti-Semitism that is engulfing part of my own party and wider political discourse. If the House would indulge me, I would like to read out a small sample of what I have received on social media. But before I do, I have to thank the dedicated team at CST who have protected me, shielded me from as much of this abuse as possible, and worked with the police on the occasions when abuse became threats. As others have said, they shouldn't be necessary, but personally, I'd be lost without them. They've also worked their way through the thousands of pieces of anti-Semitic abuse I've received to provide the following greatest hits. Though I must warn the House that my fan base has shown scant regard for appropriate parliamentary language, so I apologise in advance. Hang yourself, you vile, treacherous Zionist Tory filth. You are a cancer of humanity. Ruth Smeeth is a Zionist. She has no shame and trades on the murder of Jews by Hitler, who the Zionists betrayed. Ruth Smeeth must surely be travelling first class to Tel Aviv with all that slush. After all, she's complicit in trying to bring Corbyn down. First job for Jeremy Corbyn tomorrow: expel the Zionist Bicom smear hag bitch Ruth Smeeth from the party. This Ruth Smeeth is Britanophobic. We need to cleanse our nation of these types. Hashtag JC for PM. Deselect Ruth Smeeth ASAP. Poke the pig. Get all the Zionist child skiller scum out of Labour. You are a spy. You are evil, satanic. Leave. Hashtag Labour. Hashtag Corbyn. Ruth, you are a Zionist plant. I'm ashamed you are in Labour, better suited to the murderous Knesset. Hashtag I support Ken. Your fellow traitor Tony Blair abolished hanging for treason. Your kind need to leave before we bring it back. Hashtag Smeeth is filth.
Member Frank Goodwood.
Yeah.
Can I just say, on behalf of all members of this House, we should pay tribute to our honourable friends for the two Liverpool constituencies, which are sacred in mind at this moment. We are enormously proud of her and everything that she does for Contrite North.
Thank you. And for my final piece of abuse, the gallows would be a fine and fitting place for this dyke piece of yeared shit to swing from. This is merely a snapshot, and those that I would feel comfortable, if that is a thing, to say in this place. A glimpse into the abuse that now seems par for the course for any Jew who has the audacity to participate in this political world. But this is not the worst of it. There have always been racists and anti-Semites in our country, lurking on the fringes of our society, both left and right. I dare say there always will be. What is so heartbreaking is the concerted effort in some quarters to downplay the problem. For every comment like those you've just heard, you can find 10 people ready to dismiss it, to cry smear, to say that we are weaponising anti-Semitism. Weaponising anti-Semitism. My family came to this country fleeing the pogroms in the 19th century. Of our relatives who stayed in Europe, none survived. We know what anti-Semitism is. We know where it leads. How dare these people suggest that we would try with something so dangerous, so toxic, so formative to our lives and those of our families? How dare they seek to dismiss something so heinous, to reduce it to the realm of political point scoring? How dare they, Madam Deputy Speaker? I'm not just speaking for me, but for the young Jewish people I meet across the country who are beginning to fear they don't have a place. Young people who are braver and tougher and better than you and than I could ever be. The kind of young people who make you feel that our future is safe in their hands, but right now they don't feel safe. I've run out of time. Sorry. There is something more fundamental at stake here than any party's policy platform or electoral performance. The right of Jewish people to participate in the politics of our country as equals. Madam Deputy Speaker, last month we heard a plea. Enough is enough. I stand here today to say that we will not be bullied out of political engagement. We are going nowhere, and we stand and will keep fighting until the evils of anti-Semitism have been removed from our society.
Order.